Despite being reprimanded by British and European courts, British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak's government has decided to sign a new agreement with the Rwandan government. The agreement bans the law so that although the project is still a long way from being implemented, Sunak has managed to get his key bill through the House of Commons after a Conservative Party rebellion failed. And British Prime Minister Sunak has now won the first vote in the House of Lords on his bill to revive a deportation plan to Rwanda. The Rwanda plan involves sending asylum seekers arriving in small rubber boats on the south coast of England to Rwanda. After more than 6 hours of debate on Monday, lawmakers rejected an amendment that would have struck down the law by 206 votes to 84. The law then passed the so-called second reading without a formal vote, meaning it now has to be examined line by line. In the House of Lords, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Justin Welby, the spiritual leader of the Anglican Communion, warned that the government was leading the nation down a damaging path and warned it was damaging the country's reputation. Although the plan was widely condemned, the opposition was reluctant to vote against the law at this stage. They feared that unelected members of the upper house might overstep their constitutional role by rejecting a bill approved by the elected lower house instead of focusing on its consideration. This year, more than 1,000 asylum seekers have arrived in Britain on small boats, and Britain has already paid Rwanda around £240 million to take in asylum seekers, but no one has yet been put on a plane to Africa due to legal objections. The Lords are expected to water down the law in later stages of the parliamentary process next month. The voting process for bills in the UK Parliament involves two chambers, the House of Commons and the House of Lords. The House of Commons is the lower house and the House of Lords is the upper house. Bills typically begin in the House of Commons, where they are introduced by a government minister or a member of the opposition. The bill is then debated and amended in the House of Commons, and if it is passed, it is sent to the House of Lords. The House of Lords has the power to review and amend bills from the House of Commons. However, the Lords' powers are limited by the Parliament Acts of 1911 and 1949, and these acts give the House of Commons the power to override the House of Lords' veto on public bills after a 2-year period. The voting process for bills in the House of Lords is similar to the process in the House of Commons. Bills are debated and amended in the Lords and then put to a vote. For public bills, the Lords can only delay the passage of a bill for a maximum of 2 years, as I said. And for private bills, the Lords have the power to reject or amend a bill. And there is kind of a summary I quickly want to go through. So a bill is introduced in the House of Commons. The bill is debated and amended in the House of Commons. And if the bill is passed by the House of Commons, it is then sent to the House of Lords. Then the House of Lords debates and amends the bill. And if the Lords make any amendments to the bill is sent back to the House of Commons for what they call further consideration. If the House of Commons agrees to the Lords' amendments, the bill is sent to the Queen and now to the King for royal assent. And if the House of Commons does not agree to the Lords' amendments, the bill is sent back to the Lords for further debate. If the Lords and the House of Commons cannot agree on the amendments, the bill is referred to a joint committee of both houses. The joint committee negotiates a compromise version of the bill. If the joint committee reaches a compromise, the compromise version of the bill is sent back to both houses for a vote. If both houses pass the compromise version of the bill, it is sent to the King for royal assent. If one or both houses reject the compromise version of the bill is dead. In practice, the House of Lords rarely rejects bills from the House of Commons. The Lords have more power to amend bills, but they are generally reluctant to do so. This is because the Lords know that the House of Commons can override their veto if they do not play ball. The Parliament Acts have been controversial since they were first passed. Some people believe that they give the House of Commons too much power and that the House of Lords should have a more equal say in the legislative process. Others argue that the Parliament Acts are essential to ensure that the government can carry out its legislative agenda. Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, is now forcing a law through Parliament regarding his Rwanda asylum policy, and there are reasons why he does that. That's how I started the video, because the government hopes that by removing asylum seekers to Rwanda, it will deter others from attempting to cross the English Channel in small boats. You remember the stop the boat stuff. The channel crossings have become a major political issue in the UK, with the government facing criticism for its handling of the situation. And the government argues that sending asylum seekers to Rwanda will be more cost-effective than processing them in the UK. The UK has a large backlog of asylum cases, and the Home Office has said that the Rwanda deal could save millions of pounds a year. Well, so far it already cost 240. The government argues that it is unfair for the UK to bear the burden of handling all asylum applications in Europe. The Rwanda deal is designed to share this responsibility with another country. And the government believes that it has the right to control its borders and decide who enters the UK. And the Rwanda deal is seen as a way to assert this sovereignty. The Rwanda asylum policy has been met with widespread criticism, both domestically and internationally. Human rights groups have condemned the plan, arguing that it is illegal and inhumane, and the UN High Commissioner for Refugees has also expressed concerns about the policy. Despite the criticism, the government is determined to see the Rwanda policy through. The bill, as I said, is currently being debated in Parliament, and the government is confident that it will eventually be passed. But there are some very specific reasons why the government is pushing so hard to get this law passed. They fear that if the bill is not passed, they will be seen as weak on immigration. They believe that the bill is essential to all of their plans to reduce the channel crossings, and they are running out of time as the Rwanda deal was due to come into effect in April. The government is facing a significant rebellion from its own backbenchers on the Rwanda policy. Some Conservative MPs are concerned that the policy is illegal and humane, while others are worried that it will damage the UK's reputation. And others are worried it's not going far enough. The government is hoping to avoid a major rebellion, as this would damage its authority and make it more difficult to pass other legislation. However, it is still possible that the bill will be in trouble in Parliament, or at least delayed. The Rwanda asylum policy is a highly controversial issue, and it's likely to continue to be debated for a long time to come, at least until the next general election. And Rishi Sunak, the Prime Minister, faces pressure from within his own party to take a tough stance on immigration. This is because a significant portion of the Conservative Party base holds negative views on immigration, believing that it puts a strain on public services, drives down wages, and increases crime. And if Sunak does not take a tough stance on immigration, he's likely to face a rebellion from his own party members. And there are indeed a number of reasons why Sunak feels the need to be tough on immigration. First, there is a strong anti-immigration sentiment within the Conservative Party base. And this sentiment has been growing in recent years, and it's likely to continue to do so in the future. And if Sunak does not take steps to address this sentiment, he's likely to alienate a significant portion of his own party's base. And not to forget a lot of right-wing Tory MPs here. Suella Braverman, the former Home Secretary, is just very special case, but kind of the sign for the whole thing that's going on there. I will not list all the problems he's facing within his own party at the moment, but that is the main reason. If he's not going tough enough on immigration, he will be in trouble with the extreme right wing of his party, and the whole party is shifting to the right anyway at the moment and for some time now. If you want to see anything else, the next video is right here in the end screen. I'll see you there. I'll be back.